this week's chapter titled I Pick Up the Pen and God Moves It, talking about the inspiration behind songwriting. And I'll start with one of the introductory paragraphs by one of the editors, Sylvia Tyson. Any of you who remember Ian and Sylvia, who were favourites of mine back in the day, it's that Sylvia. Most of us have written at least one song that strikes us like lightning. You write it in 20 minutes and you don't change a word or a note. You think to yourself, I've finally got it figured out. This is how it's done. This euphoria lasts right up to the point when you try to write the next one. Generally, I find that inspiration only provides you with the heart, the germ of the song. The rest of it, you sweat blood over. I do know one thing. If it strikes you and you don't act on it, somebody else will. There's a time and a place for certain songs to happen, and you'd better be the first one there. Now, Bob Dylan, talking about Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie said he just picked songs out of the air. That meant they were already there, and that he was tuned into them. Changing of the Guard might be a song that might have been there for thousands of years, sailing around in the mist, and one day I just tuned into it. Just like Tupelo Honey was floating around, and Van Morrison came by. Leo Sayer. There's a famous blues guitarist, Booker T. Washington, better known as Booker White, who writes what he calls sky songs. His theory is that they fall out of the sky and into his head and onto the paper. That to me is the most marvelous description. And now here's Jimmy Webb. I can't say I've ever seen the clear light and been given a sign from the sky, but I definitely feel I've been used at times to say certain things. And I feel, rereading these things, that it wasn't altogether me. I go back and read it and say, oh, there's an elemental truth in this phrase that I didn't intend. I didn't conceive of it. I definitely do believe in some spiritual aspect to this, some kind of energy. And Sting. It's a strange thing writing songs. I wish I could explain what happens. Here's my analogy. You get an idea, a single idea or a seed, and that seed, by some code, like a DNA code, grows arms and legs, choruses and bridges, and what you do as the songwriter is you monitor that growth. Sometimes the arms and the legs grow in the wrong places, and you have to whiff them around, but the actual process of writing is very strange and kind of magical. David Crosby. Very often ideas come to me when I'm falling asleep, when the busy mind gets out of the way and the intuitive, imaginative mind gets a shot at the steering wheel. My friend the writer William Gibson told me, it's an established phenomenon. The elves take over the workshop. That's why all writers keep a pen and paper by their beds. Robbie Robertson. Sometimes it's just, whoopee, you've got a song. That's the best way, when it just comes upon you and you've got to stop doing everything. It's wondrous. It's what makes you want to write songs. And finally, Robbie Robertson again. I don't get in touch with the muse. She gets in touch with me.